and birth story, usually quite harrowing, and so it continued. The first day of eating solids, the nursery, school, holidays. If you didn't have kids, then what did you actually post about? At first, I'd kidded myself that all was okay, that time was still on my side. Oh, well, at least Lydia Sotheby isn't pregnant. I mean, at school she was popular, but it looks like she's still stuck in a job she hates and has no partner. Then a couple of months later, I'd see a grainy, black and white scan photo with the declaration, 2 becomes 3, and I'd be, when had 1 become 2, let alone 3? Scrolling through Lydia's photos, I'd realised there was a photo 2 years back of a wedding ring which I hadn't even noticed. Why hadn't I been invited? And I'd have to find someone else from my past that hadn't yet done what we were all supposed to do. Oh, at least Angela Rogers hasn't had a baby, I'd chant to myself. But it wasn't just peer pressure. It was a biological thing. It was an ache. It was also the fact that my life was a pile of donkey manure, and without a child it would continue on the same trajectory, one that was ultimately very dull, until it was game over. Was Angela Rogers pregnant? I made a mental note to double-check on that. She'd been massively unpopular at school, had terrible acne, and was tall, but not the kind of tall that men deal with easily. Aged 38, and time was running out. One older friend, 42, that I'd been to uni with, was already a grandma. This wasn't ideal, but at least she'd benefit from all those comments on how amazing she looked, how lucky she was to have got all the parenting wrapped up already. Though nowadays being a grandparent was tough, and you were expected to pretty much do 50% of the childcare if you were capable. My 20s had been a blur of listening to Radiohead and staring out of various windows smoking, waiting for something important to happen. My 30s were when I started to realise that nothing important was happening, and the onus was on me to make things happen. I'd never, in fact, felt a sense of agency over my life. This was changing now with my plan in place. But around 35, I realised the following. A, I was never going to be discovered. B, there was no such thing as a perfect man. C, I would never wear denim shorts and get away with it no matter how many carbs I cut out from my diet. Now, my social media was awash with tiny, scrunched-up faces and love heart emojis. Eddie arrived at 5:08 this morning and we're over the moon. #blessed. Tabitha came unexpectedly. How so? This evening, and we can't believe how lucky we are. #new parents loved up big time. We are excited to announce the arrival of our new baby. We can't stop pinching ourselves. How lucky are we? Was it luck, though? All these babies were planned, babies that arrived in long-term relationships. There was no photo of a woman staring into the camera with a blank expression on her face. Kate is happy to announce that nothing has happened of note. #no life. #no relationship. #no baby. #nada. Still waiting for something to happen, but nothing. Mum would have been disappointed. She'd always given me pep talks. You need to be the director of your own narrative. Enjoy life, but make sure you have a great career and don't rely on anyone. Don't leave it too late. You have to plan and then plan some more. Her words echoed in my ears. She'd been worried about my lack of baby. In the later years, just before she died, she kept bringing children into our conversations. So, are you thinking about babies, Kate?